Kyokushin changed the world of martial arts. But even while Masutatsu Oyama was still alive, new styles began to emerge, styles that chose to walk their own path. Some brought Sabaki, some brought MMA, and some brought spectacle. And it all started with one man, Hideyuki Ashihara. This is the story of the karate rebels, the masters who left Oyama and created their own styles, forging a new legacy before the founder's death. Hideyuki Ashihara was a genius of movement and timing. A rising star in Kyokushin, he quickly gained a reputation for his strategic footwork, his precise angles, and his ability to control space like few others could. But Kyokushin was rigid. It had rules, hierarchy, a structure that left little room for innovation. Ashihara saw a different future, one where karate evolved, where fighters didn't just endure damage, they outmaneuvered it. In the late 1970s, he walked away and founded his own system, Ashihara Karate. It was built on the principle of Sabaki, circular movement, redirection, and efficient counterattack. Ashihara's style wasn't about brute force, it was about control, about flow, about ending the fight before it truly began. His departure was the first fracture in the Kyokushin Empire and the beginning of a new era. If you want to learn more about Hideyuki Ashihara, we've already covered his story in detail. Click the link in the upper right corner and watch the full video. Takashi Azuma was one of Hideyuki Ashihara's top students, a fierce competitor, a skilled technician, and a man with a broader vision. In 1981, he founded Daido Juku, a martial art that fused the power of Kyokushin with the versatility of judo and the realism of street fighting. Over time, Daido Juku evolved into what we now know as Kudo. Kudo fighters wore protective helmets, but what they brought was raw. Headbutts, throws, knees, clinch-even groundwork. It wasn't about surviving a fight anymore. It was about dominating it, with brains, body, and brutal efficiency. For traditional karateka, Kudo was heresy. For modern warriors, it was the future. We've already done a deep dive into Kudo, the rules, the philosophy, the rise. If you want to explore more, click the card in the upper right corner and watch the full video. Kudo wasn't just a new style. It was a revolution with a black belt, and its roots go back to the very heart of Kyokushin. What if one style wasn't enough? What if a true martial artist had to prove himself, not once, not twice, but 3 times, in a single fight? That was the challenge set by Yoshiji Soeno, one of Masutatsu Oyama's most powerful and respected students, a Kyokushin champion, a warrior forged in the fires of knockdown fighting, but also a man with vision. In the late 1980s, Soeno founded Shidokan, a system that took the brutality of Kyokushin and layered it with the technique of Muay Thai and the chaos of grappling. Shidokan tournaments became known as the martial arts triathlon. Round 1, Kyokushin-style knockdown karate, no punches to the face, but leg kicks, knees, body shots. Round 2, kickboxing under Muay Thai rules, full punches, elbows, clinch. Round 3, throwing, sweeps, and limited grappling, no submissions, but full body control. Fighters had to adapt, quickly. There was no time to specialize. You had to be complete, or get exposed. It was mentally brutal, physically exhausting, and emotionally humbling. Most couldn't survive even 1 round, let alone 3. But those who did were warriors in the purest sense. Shidokan never chased global fame. It didn't sell out, it didn't soften, it remained underground, respected by those who know real fighting. In Japan, Eastern Europe, and select dojos around the world, Shidokan is whispered with reverence, because it's not a style you just learn, it's a style you survive. If you'd like to see a full video on Shidokan in the future, leave a comment below. Some left Oyama in search of power, others in search of precision. Joko Ninomiya was different. A direct student of Hideyuki Ashihara, Ninomiya had fought in the toughest Kyokushin tournaments and trained under one of the most innovative minds in karate. But when Ashihara passed, Ninomiya didn't try to take over. He stepped aside and chose his own path. In 1988, he founded Enshin Karate, a style rooted in Sabaki, but elevated to a new level. Where Ashihara had broken the straight line of Kyokushin, Ninomiya drew a circle around it. Enshin wasn't about breaking your opponent. It was about understanding him, reading motion, stealing balance, and redirecting energy. Pause, pivot, control. One clean move, instead of 3 sloppy ones. The Sabaki method became a philosophy, not just a tactic, but a mindset. In a fight, the Enshin practitioner doesn't rush. He waits, angles, and then sweeps, strikes, or steps away. Sometimes he doesn't even need to hit. Sometimes the opponent falls by his own force. The Sabaki Challenge, Enshin's signature tournament, rejected the old formulas. No rigid katas, no endless kumite wars, just strategy, timing, and execution. Winning required more than toughness. It demanded intelligence, awareness, composure. It was chess, with fists and legs. And Ninomiya? He remained quiet, far from the spotlight, but closer than ever to the heart of martial truth. He didn't want fame. He didn't want belts. He wanted balance. And in Enshin, he found it. Enshin is not a style for the crowd. It's a style for the master, for the fighter who listens more than he speaks, moves more than he strikes. In many ways, it was the quiet culmination of everything the karate rebels stood for. Not every karate rebel wore a torn gi and lived like a monk. Some wore a suit, spoke the language of business, and saw the future in bright lights and roaring crowds. Kazuyoshi Ishii was one of those men, a skilled Kyokushin fighter, yes. But more than that, he was a visionary, someone who understood that power isn't just shown in the dojo, it's sold in the arena. After parting ways with Kyokushin, Ishii founded Seidokaikan in 1980, a full-contact style rooted in karate, but refined, branded, and marketable. Fighters wore clean white gis with slick logos. Tournaments were structured, timed, and promoted like professional events. But make no mistake, the fighting was real. Seidokaikan didn't water down Kyokushin. It focused it, sharpened it for the world stage. And then, Ishii took it even further. By organizing matches between his karateka and elite kickboxers and Muay Thai fighters, he began to test Seidokaikan on a whole new level. These fights were brutal, technical, fast, and popular. The crowd wanted more, and Ishii was listening. Within a few short years, Seidokaikan would give birth to something far bigger than itself. A new battlefield, a new spectacle, and a new global empire called K1. One man wore a suit, another wore gloves, and when they met in the arena, a new era began. K1 didn't start as a martial art. It started as a platform, a vision, a battlefield where karate, kickboxing, and Muay Thai could clash, and at the center of it all was Seidokaikan. Kazuyoshi Ishii had spent years building fighters, events, and a reputation. But in 1993, he launched something that changed everything. K1. A single event. One ring. One set of rules. Strikers only. No takedowns, no grappling. Just power, precision, and pain. And who were the stars? Kyokushin fighters. Andy Hug, Francisco Filho, Glaube Feitosa, all of them trained in Knockdown. All of them adapted to the new game. They brought low kicks, axe kicks, spinning back fists, techniques born in the dojo but refined for war. The world watched, the crowd roared, and martial arts became show business. K1 wasn't pure, but it was powerful, it was fast, it was global. And without the karate rebels, without Ashihara, Ishii, Ninomiya, Azuma, K1 could not have existed. They laid the groundwork. They broke the rules. They made it possible. K1 was not the end of karate. It was one of its many new faces, and it all began before Oyama died. Before Oyama died in 1994, many of his strongest students had already left. They weren't traitors. They weren't outcasts. They were masters, searching for something more. Some built styles around precision, others around power. Some chose philosophy, others chose fame. But one thing united them all. They carried the fire of Kyokushin and reshaped it in their own image. These were the karate rebels, and this was only the first half of the story. Because after Oyama died, everything changed. His organization fractured, factions rose, wars over legacy and leadership began. In the next episode, we'll explore the collapse of IKO, the rise of new federations, and the question that still echoes today: who truly inherited Oyama's vision? Subscribe if you haven't already, turn on notifications, and join us next time for the fall of Kyokushin, what happened after Oyama died. If you want deeper insights, check out our Patreon. You'll find bonus videos, behind-the-scenes research, and early chapters from our upcoming book. Until then, train hard, stay sharp, and honor the ones who walk their own path.